Hey everybody, this is Wild Lily Handy coming to you with YouTube Agent Prep to help you prepare for your real estate exam. So we're going to review national questions that apply to all 50 states, even though some of the states have one exam, including national and your particular state. And at the end, we're going to do Texas state questions. So this session is or on my webinars are designed for you to participate during the webinar by typing the question number and the letter answer. When I give you an opportunity after I review the question, point out keywords, vocabulary, because anything I'm going to stress a lot is vocabulary, 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 because you're learning a new language. And in order to pass your real estate exam, you've got to know that vocabulary. So more of you need to watch the vocabulary videos and download free vocabulary. And also in my Agent Prep Facebook private group, I have a guide. I have 14 guides under the guide tab. And one of the guides is the Texas Real Estate Sales Exam 4th edition, and it includes an awesome vocabulary list, plus national questions. So today we're going to continue with the prior session that I did about a month ago on September 27th. So we're starting out with national question numbers, test 7 and question 25. So during the class, participate. I will help you out by elaborating on the questions, giving you examples, giving you experience, because I am an active realtor at this time. And I'm actually prospecting every day to do what? To get sellers, because you're going to make it happen and develop your business by representing sellers and let everybody else bring the buyers. All right, because a lot of things are changing in real estate. Okay. So once you get into it and pass your exam, you will learn about that. All right, so I'm going to share my screen so that we can review the questions. And remember, type the question number and the letter answer. All right, here we go. So we're going to start out with question 725. And I adjust my screen so that I can accommodate everyone that's doing it on the cell phone, a tablet, or a computer. I have approval from this book, from this author, to use their book, okay, on YouTube. And there's a link on the YouTube description should you want to buy the book. They do have books for about 26 or 7 different states, 27 states. And it's awesome. Why? Because they have the questions, the answers, and they explain the answers and give you an idea of how to prepare for the exam and what real estate is about. All right, so here we go. Okay, so one thing you might want to know is, what are we talking about today? So on test number 7 on the national, we're discussing finance. So get your calculator, a finance calculator or a basic calculator, so that you might do the calculations while we're doing the class. During the exam, the real life exam, they let you take in a calculator, but it has to be a basic calculator. All right, so here we go. So which of the following correctly describes the flow of money and documents in a mortgage loan transaction? Oh, by the way, can you all hear me? I want to make sure you can hear me, because I'm trying a new device. I have a Blue Yeti audio device, microphone. So can you hear me? Please type in the chat if you can hear me. Come on, there's several of you on here, so somebody type in the chat. All right, BB Lynn, I don't want to interrupt, but I passed. You helped me more than you. Oh my gosh. How exciting to hear a testimonial. Congratulations. That's awesome, BB Lynn. And I love your colors, red and black. Those are my colors, my branding colors, which you'll want to decide on. And yes, you can hear me. You passed. Oh my God, how awesome. That is fascinating. You are now on your journey to start your real estate business. It's not a career, it is your business, which you will be working every day and probably for long, long hours. So I helped you more than I'll ever know. Oh, I am so grateful, and I'm glad that my YouTube videos did help you. And if there's anything that you can recommend, hey, please type it on the chat, leave a comment or a testimonial in the channel or on the Facebook Agent Prep private group. Thank you so much for popping in here and letting us know that you passed your exam. Awesome. All right, so we're talking about finance. Which of the following correctly describes the flow of money and documents in a mortgage loan transaction? So A, the borrower gives the lender a note and a mortgage in exchange for loan funds. B, the lender gives the borrower a mortgage and receives a note in exchange for loan funds. C, the borrower receives a note in exchange for a mortgage from the lender. D, the lender gives a borrower a note, loan funds, and a mortgage. All right, so what is a mortgage loan? What is a transaction? How does the money flow in a mortgage, in a transaction of a buyer buying a property? So who gives whom a note and a mortgage? Who has the collateral? What is collateral? It's another vocabulary. Who is the borrower? Who is the lender? What are loan funds? Okay, so, the borrower is the person buying the home, right? The lender is the mortgagee. Because the lender receives something, and the mortgagor, who is the buyer, who is the borrower, also receives something, but they give something. So there's a giver and a receiver. The mortgagee, the lender. Mortgage or the borrower, the buyer. You're very welcome, BB. Thank you so much. So type your question number and the letter answer in the chat so that we're all on the same page and we know exactly what question we're on and what answer. So all the words that I pointed out, those are vocabulary. Okay, documents, mortgage, mortgage loan, transaction. Who's the borrower? What are loan funds? Who's the lender? Who's the mortgagee? Who's the mortgage or? Those are all vocabulary. Who receives a note in exchange for a mortgage from the lender? What is a note? That's another vocabulary. So any Kong, hey, thanks for joining us. So any Kong says B. Anyone else? This is the time for you to take a chance and type your answer. Remember to type the question number and the letter answer. And the answer is not B, Annie, so take another attempt. I'll give you another moment so that you can end up taking another attempt on the question for the answer, I should say. Okay, going once, going twice, 3 times. The answer is A. The borrower, who is the mortgagee, gives the borrower, who is the mortgage or they're the giver, gives the lender a note, a promissory note, stating how they're going to pay back that mortgage in exchange for the loan funds. And the property is the collateral. Yes, you were about to say A. Go with your first instinct. All right. It's very important to go with your first instinct. Your face purple crying. Hey, don't cry, okay? We say no crying in real estate, but sometimes we do cry, and that's okay. So when a borrower gives a note, a promissory note, like in the old days, we could give a sheet of paper that says, I promise to pay you the $100 I borrowed with $10 a month. So that's how people would do it in the old days, or they would shake hands. And here's Annie Kong. I love that name. Says, thank you, Lillie. Glad I came. Have my test coming up. You're welcome, Annie. Hey, and you know what? Start meditating every day that you passed. I passed. I passed. Ask, believe, and receive. Should you not pass, don't beat yourself up. Many of us, including me, didn't pass the first time around. So it's okay. You'll know what to study for more. And that's a lot of vocabulary and lots of questions. All right, number 26. So everybody got that? Number 25 was A, the borrower, who is the mortgage or gives the lender, the mortgagee, a promissory note and a mortgage. That's the deed of trust in certain states and a mortgage in other states in exchange for the money. All right, number 26. In a deed of trust transaction, what is a deed of trust? Okay, the deed of trust is a mortgage. In certain states, there's like 50% of the state, there's a deed of trust. Those states have a non-judicial foreclosure, meaning they don't have to go to a judge to get permission to sell the foreclosure on the property. Other states have a mortgage, and those states, in order to foreclose, have to go to the judge and get a judgment to sell that property on the foreclosure steps. Okay, so that's the difference. Deed of trust, whenever you see the word trust, there are going to be three individuals in a deed of trust: trustor, trustee, and the beneficiary. All right, so in a deed of trust transaction, which of the following occurs? A, the beneficiary conveys title to a trustee in exchange for loan funds. Who's the beneficiary? What is conveys? Who's the trustee? B, the trustee conveys title to a beneficiary in exchange for loan funds. C, the trustor, who's the trustor, conveys title, and what is title? To a trustee in exchange for loan funds from the beneficiary. And or D, the trustee conveys title to a trustor in exchange for loan funds from the beneficiary. So in a deed of trust transaction, which one of the following occurs? Which one is true? So whenever you have a deed of trust, I said you have a trustor, you have a trustee, and you have a beneficiary. The beneficiary is the lender. I'll give you that much. So type your question number and letter answer in the chat. And for anybody watching the replay, you may fast forward as I do give participants during the webinar to answer questions, and I will explain the answers in more detail if necessary. All right, so far I have Annie Kong with 726C. Anyone else? Come on, this is your chance to take a risk, because we take a risk every day. The moment we wake up, the moment we go to sleep, throughout the 24 hours, we take a risk. Like Jim, uh, uh, yes, the answer is 726C. And if for some reason we get disconnected, I'll always get back on because sometimes there's a lot of traffic during the evenings. So the answer is 726C, which is the trust store. Oops, sorry. The All right, you can hear me. I am coming back. I am coming back if you can hear me. So now I need to share the screen again. So the answer is 726C, okay? The trustor conveys title to a trustee in exchange for loan funds from the beneficiary. The beneficiary is the lender, the bank, okay? And the trustee is the individual that the lender entrusts to hold on to the deed of trust, okay, which are the title, I'm sorry, which gives them the directions on how to proceed with a foreclosure if the borrower defaults. Okay, so 726. So you were correct. Very good. And let's see what the answers say. So the answer says a deed of trust conveys title to the property in question as security for the loan. Okay, so the title that the trustee holds for the beneficiary is the collateral. Okay, is the security for the loan to make sure that the borrower pays. The trustee is a third party fiduciary to the trust. So this is a deed of trust. What did I say? Whenever there's a trust, there are three parties: trustor, trustee, and beneficiary. Beneficiary is the lender, trustor is the buyer, and the trustee is a third party fiduciary for the lender. The trustee holds a title on behalf of the lender. So who is the beneficiary of the trust? So the lender is the beneficiary of their trust. There's other types of trust, and those are when investors, and that it's like a land trust, not a land contract, like a land trust. And it also has a trustor, trustee, and a beneficiary. But in that case, instead of a lender, it is the investor, because the investor is the owner of the property, and people don't really know, the public don't know who the beneficiary are. They only know who the trustor and the trustee are when it's recorded. So that's going a little bit more into detail. And I know that because I've been an investor for many years, and I've had trusts which are used for multi-level asset protection, so that people won't come and sue you in case you have a bunch of rentals. All right, so let's hide the answer there. Okay, number 27. A lender lends money to a homeowner and takes legal title to the property as collateral during the payoff period. They are in a what kind of state? Okay, there's a delay in my computer. I'm trying to hide the answer, or in the internet. So a lender lends money to a homeowner and takes legal title. What is legal title? Vocabulary. To the property as collateral. What is collateral? During the payoff period. What is payoff period? These are all vocabulary. Lender is also a vocabulary. Lends money, homeowner. Those are all vocabulary. So what kind of a state are they in? They are in a theory state, B, a lien theory state, C, state allowing land trust, or D, a state where hypothecation is illegal. What is hypothecation? What is a land trust? What is lien theory state? What is title theory state? Do you see how there are so many vocabulary in the questions and in the answer? And when you learn your vocabulary, you don't have to memorize them. If you're good at doing that, then great. You can see that there's a need to know the vocabulary. Type your answer in the chat, question number and the letter answer, please. And do it, okay? This is a time to do it. And if you see me looking back and forth or left and right, I have 3 monitors going on right now. The questions on one, the StreamYard, which I'm streaming onto from the software that I'm using, and then to YouTube and Facebook on another screen. All right, the answer here is 27A. So a lender who lends money to a homeowner and takes legal title, okay, takes legal title. Okay, a state that takes legal title to the property as collateral is called a title theory state. There's probably 50-50% of out of the 50 states that are title theory and others are lien theory. And in a title theory state, the trustee keeps legal title. So that is a deed of trust state, which then uses a non-judicial foreclosure, meaning non-judicial, they don't have to go to the judge. No judge are coming to give them permission to foreclose on that property. On a lien theory state, the lender keeps the borrower keeps the title, and now the lender has to go to the judge to get a judgment to foreclose on that property. That's called a judicial foreclosure. So those are vocabulary that you also want to know. So no title theory state, which in this case, who holds title? Legal title is held by the lender. And actually it's by their trustee. Okay, their trustee, because it is going to be a trust. And so the legal title to the property as collateral. So in essence, the lender is going to get the property back if that borrower defaults. So they have legal title and they can start the foreclosure process when the borrower defaults according to how many days is allowed in that particular state. Texas, it's 21 days and the lender can start a process to foreclose by sending out notices. In other states, I was in Oregon, it was 4 months. So, you know, some states have more months and people think, oh, I can stay in my house and not pay mortgage for months and months. Not every state. So I've been an owner who has sold property on owner finance. And I've had individuals say, oh, I can stay there for months without paying you. I said, no, in Texas, in 21 days, I can start the foreclosure process. I'm a little investor. I'm not going to be like a bank and wait for months. Ain't no way. I'll start the process of foreclosure much quicker. All right. Any questions? This is your time to ask questions. All right, let's see if I can get it even bigger. Well, I think that's going to be the biggest there. And again, anybody watching the replay, hey, you can fast forward and go through these quicker if you don't want to listen to all my instructions or point out vocabulary or examples or life experiences. All right, number 28. A lender who charges a rate of interest in excess, right, over legal limits is guilty of what? A, redlining, B, usury, C, profit taking, or D, nothing. There are no legal limits to interest rates. What do you think about that? So, vocabulary: redlining, usury, profit taking, interest rates. Lots of vocabulary there. All right, Sonia. Hi, Sonia. Thank you for joining us. So type the question number and the letter answer. Very good, Sonia and Annie. All right, so far we have 28B. Anyone else? Don't be shy. Type your answer in the chat. If it's wrong, that's okay. This is where you can feel safe and learn. I screwed up many times. I failed the exam several times. And I became a successful realtor, and I'm still practicing real estate. And I've been in 3 different markets, almost 4. I failed my Michigan license and then moved back to Oregon. All right, the answer is B. So Sonia and Annie, you got that correct. It is usury. The answer is usury. Sorry, the internet's a little bit slow here. Is redlining that when lender refuse to lend to specific races? I saw this early morning. Yes, they're being particular about who they loan to. So usury, many states have laws against usury, which is charging of excess interest. They're charging over and above interest rates on loans. Such states have a maximum rate that is either a flat rate or a variable rate tied to an index. Okay, such as the prime lending. So every state has their own lending. So if you've ever gone for a home loan or a family member or someone that you know, and the questions on the on websites online are going to ask you, what state are you in? Because every state's interest rate is a little bit different. They're very common, but it's a little bit different. Okay. And when you want to know quick answers, okay, just Google them. Okay, Google, you can have almost anything and everything that you want. And it's much easier to go to Google and get an answer than it is to go to your books. So if you want to have more examples, okay, of redlining, just Google it. Go learn that vocabulary if you're not sure about it. So it is the practice of denying credit-worthy applicants a loan for housing in certain neighborhoods, even though the applicant may otherwise be eligible for the loan. You're very welcome, Annie. Okay, number 29. Gee, I miss doing these classes. I haven't been doing them as often as I used to. Sometimes I do them 3 times a week. Lately, I've been doing them once a month because I'm doing other videos, which is to help you get your business going and giving you my experience of how I got started and affirmed, I want 25 listings my first 3 months in real estate. I want 25. And did I do it? Go watch my videos. There's a video that I created about that. So after you pass your real estate exam and you become a realtor, you're going to, well, prior to becoming a realtor, you're going to interview many brokers. Hopefully you'll interview the one that I'm with, EXP or Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, Remax. There's so many companies out there. But interview many of them. All right. So a lender is charging 2 points. What are points? On a $60,000 loan. The borrower, who's the borrower, must therefore pay the lender an advance amount of A, $120, B, $300, C, $1,200, or D, $3,000. So what is 2 points of $60,000 loan? Type your answer in the chat. Here's the math problem. So if you're not sure what 2 points is, Google it real fast. What is a point in real estate? Okay, what is the point in a loan? And you'll get the answer on Google. Type your answer in the chat. Question number and the letter answer. You've been doing great. Just want to remind you. And anybody who just came on, we are doing national questions that apply to all 50 states, even though some states have their questions combined, national and state, in one exam. In Texas, we have 2 separate exams, and so do other states. So if you're studying for your exam, you're still going to study national questions and also state questions. So if you need to, if you can't find your state-specific questions, buy a prep book. All prep books will have national questions and state questions, unless it says only state-specific questions. All right. So no answer. So y'all don't like math? So the answer here is C, 729C. 2 points is equivalent to 2% of the loan amount. So 2% of 60,000 is what? Do that in paper and pencil, or do it on your calculator. So the answer here is 1,200. 2 points is equal to 2%. And 2% of 60, or 2% of 6 is 12. Okay. And then 4 zeros, but then you got to take the decimal back 2. So it's $1,200. Very good, Annie. And for all of you on here, if this is your first time to my channel, hey, remember to tap the subscribe button and the like button if you like this video, and click the little bell so that you are the first to get notified anytime I go live or I upload a new video. All right, number 30. And again, right now we are reviewing national questions. Later on in the session, oh, and the questions would be Texas state questions. I am licensed in Texas and I'm a practicing realtor in Texas. All right, number 30. The difference between balloon loan and an amortized loan. Vocabulary: balloon loan, amortized loan. What are those? Look them up on the vocabulary if you have a list of vocabulary. If you don't, go to my AgentPrep Facebook private group. Under the guides, there is vocabulary in there, and also under the Texas Real Estate Sales Exam Guide, 4th edition, there's a humongous vocabulary in that prep book. Even though it says Texas, it has vocabulary and lots of awesome Texas, national questions that apply to all of you. All right, the difference between a balloon loan, what is a balloon? You blow up a balloon, right? Amortized loan is A. An amortized loan is paid off over the loan period. B. A balloon loan always has a shorter loan term. C, an amortized loan requires interest payments. Or D, a balloon loan must be retired in 5 years. So think about it and then type the letter number, the question number and the letter answer in the chat. And if you're not familiar with them or you don't remember them, go Google it, study your vocabulary. So what does it tell you? If you don't know what they are, okay, an interest payments, amortized, balloon loan, loan period, those are all vocabulary. Okay, come on, type your answer in the chat. Going once, twice, gone. The answer is A. An amortized loan is paid off over a loan period. So if it's a 30-year fixed loan, that amortized loan will be divided into 360 months. 30 years times 12 months will be 360 months. Therefore, a borrower can afford to buy a loan and not have a humongous payment. So it is divided into months so that the borrower can pay a lower interest, a lower principal amount and then interest. So the beginning years of a loan, the interest is higher. Now, when the interest rate was low, like during COVID-19, oh my gosh, the interest payments were also low. More was going to the principal. Now interest rates are like 7, 6.5, 7.5. So there is more money going towards the interest of that amortized loan in the 360 days, and less money goes to the principal. As the years go by, eventually the principal amount will get bigger and the interest will get lower, or the borrower refinance if the interest rates improve. Very good, Annie. And for those of you watching on YouTube, hey, remember to tap that like button. Send me some support, okay? And I don't have any thumbs up, okay? So go and hit the thumbs up for all of you that are on here. Send me some love so I can do more of these. The more you show me that you like these and they're valuable, the more I'll be excited to create more and do them more often. So that was excellent, okay? That amortized loan is divided. A balloon loan, like you blow up a balloon, right? You keep blowing it up, blowing it out, and it blows up, right? So a balloon loan has a deadline of a certain number of years, and then the full amount will have to be paid. Either the borrower refinances or they pay it off with cash or borrow money from the family. All right, number 31. Any questions so far? Oops. You can ask questions and I will answer them as best as I can, or I'll Google it. I love to Google questions and items. There's so much information on Google. All right, so 31. Remember, these are finance questions. Test 7 on the Texas Real Estate Exam Prep book. And even though you're saying, well, I'm not from Texas, these are still national questions that apply to all 50 states. And keep in mind, in some of your states, you might have the exam, only one exam with national and your particular state combined. Other states, they're separate. They have a national exam and a state exam. 31, a distinctive feature of a promissory note. What is a promissory note? Is that A, it is not assignable. What is assignable? B, it must be accompanied by a mortgage. What is a mortgage? C, it is a negotiable instrument. What is a negotiable instrument? What is an instrument when it has to do with loans? Or D, it may not be prepaid. What is prepaid? So do you think it's important to know vocabulary? I would think so. Lots of vocabulary in the question and the answers. Type your answer in the chat, question number, and letter answer. Anyone typing the answer? All right. Sonia. Hi, Sonia. See, Sonia says 731D. Well, I wish I could say yes, but I'm going to say no. What is the distinctive feature of a promissory note? Is that the answer is C. It is a negotiable instrument. Okay, let me type the answer and then I will read the answer from the book to you. I won't be showing you the answer, but I will read it to you. And these books that I use, they explain the answer, not just give you the letter answer. So a negotiable note instrument is a promissory note. That is a note, like in the old days, you would write, hey, I promise to pay you this $100 and $10 a week or $10 a month. That's a promissory note. A promissory note is not recorded. The deed of trust or the mortgage and the title, and the deed of trust and the mortgage are recorded, and the title. All right, so it is a negotiable instrument. A promissory note is a negotiable instrument, which means the payee may assign it to a third party. The assignee would then have the right to receive the borrower's periodic payments. So who is the payee? The payee is the one receiving the money. Who is receiving the money from the borrower? The lender, right? So the lender is the payee. EE receives. The borrower is the payer, paying the mortgage, the promissory note, the description or the details of how they're paying the mortgage loan back to the lender. And again, a promissory note is not recorded. Okay, it is not recorded. It's between the lender and the borrower. The public industry does not have to know because the deed of trust, the mortgage is recorded with a vendor's lien. Okay, and that is available to the public. You can go to the county courthouse or search for it online for free. So the negotiable instrument promissory note is not. That's between the payee and the payor. And lenders will sell the notes. They will sell the promissory notes to other banks or to private investors. And investors love to pay promissory notes that have a low interest rate. Why? Because they'll make money on the interest that is being paid monthly. If it has a high interest, oh my gosh, they want to buy those. Like right now, the interest rate is higher. And those lenders are going to want to sell that so that they have money to loan more money. So then investors or other banks will buy large quantity of those promissory notes and collect the interest payments on them. And some of these loans, promissory notes, will have a prepayment penalty, especially when it has a high interest loan. Why? Because the lenders want to at least make some money off of the loan that they provided to that borrower. Many loans don't have a prepaid penalty, but if it does, it's because they want the borrower to keep it for at least 5 years so they can make some money off of the interest. That's why lenders make money off of loaning money to buy property, either commercial, residential, agriculture, industrial. Any types of loan. Credit cards. What kind of interest rate do we pay on credit cards? I mean, people are going crazy saying, oh my God, interest rate is 7%, 7.5%. And then you might owe 20, 30, 40, $50,000 on a credit card that has 29% interest. Most credit cards are 8% and higher. They can justify that, but not justify 7% to buy a house, 20 or 30% credit card, right? Yes. All right, number 32. When the terms of the mortgage loan are satisfied, what does that mean? The terms, mortgage loan is satisfied. The mortgagee, who's the mortgagee? The lender, right? So when the terms of the mortgage loan are satisfied, the mortgagee, what? A, may retain any overage in the escrow account. What is an escrow account? What is overage? What is retain? B, may inspect the property before returning legal title. Or C, may be entitled to charge the borrower a small fee to close the loan. That's what I call prepayment penalty. Or D, may be required to execute a release of mortgage document. What is a release of mortgage document? What is execute? These are all vocabulary, you all. And I stress them because you need to know them. You need to understand them. You don't have to have them memorized, but understand what the concept of it is. So type your question number and the letter answer in the chat. In the chatty chat. Yep. Type the right answer so you can pass that exam. I want you to affirm, I passed, right? And you're going to pass. All right, 732. What do you think the answer is? Come on, type that answer. Yay, Sonia, awesome. Yes, the answer is D. That mortgagee, being the lender, when the loan is satisfied, that means the loan is paid off. There is a zero balance. The lender may be required to execute, sign off a release of mortgage documents. A release of mortgage documents. That is called a lien release. If for some reason you own a home and you've paid it off and you have not received a lien release or a release of mortgage, you're still going to have a lien on your title. Record it, on the deed, record it at the county records, at the county courthouse. Oh, so the two things that are recorded are the deed of trust or the mortgage and the deed. And the deed will say there's a vendor's lien. So that means when it's paid off, that lien needs to be released. If it's not released, it'll show that you still have a debt. And when it comes down to selling that property, you won't be able to sell it until that lien is released. And they'll get released, You just need to notify the lender. And lender should provide it automatically. However, it doesn't always happen. So we need to be aware as owners and make sure that lien is released, because when it comes down to selling it, it's going to show a vendor's lien and the title company is going to say, oops, sorry, we can't convey title on that, or an attorney, could be the escrow officer, until that lien is released. You contact the lender, get the release letter, and it's sent to the title company or the lender or the attorney, whoever's closing that lien. Because attorneys can be escrow officers, attorneys or title company. The only thing that an attorney cannot do is write a title policy. So if a borrower and seller, investor are closing with an attorney and the borrower wants a title, an insurance title, the attorney will ask a title company to write the insurance policy, and the title company will have to make sure they can insure it. And they'll do a title search. So a search of the history on that property. All right, number 33. Am I confusing you, or are you following me? If I'm confusing you, go back and watch the video. And anyone watching the video, hey, fast forward it. I listen to a lot of videos at 1.5 speed. You can increase the speed. If the speaker speaks clearly, you can listen to it at a faster speed and still get all the information. So like my morning affirmations, or I'm listening to other videos while I'm walking and jogging, I'll listen to them at 1.5 speed. Sometimes even 2 if the speaker is great. So like I said, those of you who are watching it, hey, you can fast forward. You don't have to listen to everything in between. You might learn something in between. Not everybody wants to. They just want to hear the question and the answer. There are other YouTube channels that do that. All right, 733. In addition to income, credit, and employment data, a mortgage lender requires additional documentation, usually including what? A, an appraisal report, B, a criminal record report, C, a subordination agreement, or D, default recourse waiver. So what are lenders going to require in addition to income, credit, and employment? Because what becomes the collateral? The property, right? The deed of trust, right? So the mortgage, that's an instrument that becomes a collateral to make sure that the borrower pays the loan. Okay, so Sonia and Annie say A for 33. Anyone else? Okay, you guys, I haven't gotten that many thumbs up. Send me some love. Click the thumbs up on the YouTube channel if you appreciate and you like what you're learning. If you don't, hey, no thumbs down, okay? If you can't say anything nice, don't say anything. That's my feeling about it. Yes, they're going to need an appraisal report. Why? Because they want to make sure that the money they're loaning on the property is actually worth it. And are they going to loan 100%? Usually not, unless you're a veteran. Usually it's going to be 95%, 90, 85, 80%. So they want to make sure that they'll be able to get the value for their loan from that property. And so how do we do that? Through an appraisal, not through a comparable market analysis. That's between the realtor and the client to determine a price on what to sell it for, based on current sales properties, or to a buyer to tell them what kind of price to offer based on current sales data. But for a lender, it'll require more detailed information, which is what an appraiser does. So very good, Sonia and Annie. Number 34. Y'all are doing awesome. Thank you for participating. Come on. Minimize. That's too small. There we go. All right, number 34. Again, these are national questions that apply to all 50 states. Whether you have one exam or two, your exam is going to include national questions and state questions. Okay, so I have a comment here by Sonia. Great review. Thanks bunches for all your work. It's greatly appreciated. I have an appointment. Hey, awesome. Thank you for attending. Love, love, love them. Thumbs up. Thank you, Sonia. Appreciate your comments, your compliments. All right, number 34. The three overriding considerations. What's a consideration? Let's see here. The three overriding considerations of a lender's mortgage loan decision. So, overriding considerations from whom? A lender's mortgage loan decision are A, points, interest rate, and loan term. B, the location of the mortgage property, the borrower's cash, and the amount of the borrower's equity. C, the ability to repay, the value of the collateral, and the profitability of the loan. Or D, the amount of the loan, the borrower's income, and the down payment. So what do you think determines who what type of criteria the lender needs in order to provide a loan? Do we have a job? Do we make money? Do we have a good income? Do we have savings? Do we have a lot of debt? Do we own cars, trucks, motor vehicles for fun, trailers? Let's see, quads, boats, jets. So how big is our debt versus our income? So what criteria do you think the lenders look for in order to make a loan decision? Type your letter and question number and the letter answer in the chat. Any, the answer is not D. Take another attempt. Keep in mind that lenders make money through loaning money. However, how do they make money? Remember, most businesses have a profit and loss. They have collateral. And can the person repay? So take another attempt, Annie. And thank you all for participating. This is awesome. I love it. And my wish and my prayers are that all of you pass your exams and you really think about why you're becoming a realtor and what is being a realtor like. Talk to a bunch of realtors, not just beginners or friends. Talk to experienced realtors. What does it take to really succeed in real estate? All right. Yes, Annie, the answer is C. So sometimes it's good to change our answers. Most of the time it's not. We go with the first answer is what exam preparers recommend. So the answer is C. Three overriding considerations of a lender's mortgage loan decision. So what three things does a lender look at to provide a loan? C, the ability for the borrower to repay, the value of the collateral, right? They have an appraiser. And can they profit from that loan? Are they going to make money on the interest rate and the term of it? Is it going to be for 5 years, 10 years, 30 years? So the longer the borrower has, and if the market is appreciating, they're going to make more money, right? So it is C, the ability to repay the loan, the borrower's ability, the collateral, the appraisal on the property. Does it have a good value to where they can get their money back if the borrower defaults? And is it a profitable property? Okay, in addition to appreciation of it, the interest rate they're charging, down payment, that type of thing. So the answer was C, or is C. Three overriding factors. So let's see. First, you had said D, The amount of the loan, the borrower's income, and the down payment. Okay, the borrower's income is very important. The amount of the loan, it's not necessary. It'll depend on their debt to income ratio as to how much the lender is going to pay. So what the lender wants to know, does the borrower have enough money to repay it? And the down payment is not primary. Okay. Some loans are 3.5%. That is FHA, Federal Housing Administration. If it's a VA loan, it's zero down payment because the VA guarantees the loan. Okay. A Federal Housing Administration, they insure the loan. So they only require 3.5% down. Now, if it is a private conventional loan, it could be 5% down. Okay. So it depends on the type of loan as to what the down payment. But that is not one of the three overriding considerations. It is, can they repay it? Does the property, is it a good collateral? And will they profit from the loan? What kind of interest rate? Okay. So any questions on this? This is the end of the national part for the real estate, and all this section test had to do with finance. Any questions before we go to the Texas state questions? And where was everybody from that was here today? Annie, where are you from? Sonia. And who else is here? There's several of you here, but mainly 2 of you were participating. So what state are you from? In the meantime, I'm going to shift into Texas State, and I'll show you the book that I was using. So this is the book that I'm using. It's a blue book, and so this is Texas, but it has a lot of awesome national questions. It's by Stephen and Ryan Metling, father and son, Cusick and Hamilton, and it has Dallas, Texas. All right. I'm in San Antonio. You have it. That's awesome. It is an excellent book. Keep reviewing those questions until you get 100 score. Now, this book does not have vocabulary. There's a lot of vocabulary online. You can research real estate vocabulary, or you can go to my private Facebook group, Agent Prep. If you're not a member, request to join. Make sure you put you answer the questions on there, which is, are you going to do it full-time, part-time, what city, and your email? Okay, because there's a lot of hackers out there that just want to, put silly stuff, dumb stuff on there. And so there's a book, the Texas Real Estate Sales Exam Guide, 4th edition, that also has vocabulary, excellent, a review of the different sections. It has lots of national questions for exams of 100 questions. And the first 80 are national, and the last, 110 questions. The first 80 are national, the last 30 are Texas state. So in the Texas state, a few of them are outdated. However, this book was from 2007, and I wish that publisher was still doing it, but they're not. Awesome book. All right, so we are going to move on to Texas state questions. So hopefully I'll be doing more of this next week. Sometimes I do only Texas questions, sometimes combined, and other times I do vocabulary. All right, so let's see. What are we starting with here? So it's a good thing that you have that book. We're starting with section 13, test 13, number 31. Okay, and test 13 has to do with standards of conduct of brokerage and standards of conduct and brokerage practice. Again, in this book, Texas Real Estate License Exam Prep, which I have permission from the authors to use. And there's a disclosure in the description. Oops, wrong one. All right, what did I say? 31. Oh, that's a long question. So let me minimize this. And I know some of you may not like the fact that I changed the screen and all this. So if my channel is not for you, there are many other tutors online that also do questions. I'm one of the only one that does only Texas, and there are other channels that also do Texas, but not as much as I do. And they don't go live. Very rare. Another excellent channel is Prep Agent. And there's another one by Joe Juder. Joe Juder is Prep Agent, and the Real Estate Wizard. Oh man, sorry, man. It's taking me a bit here to get this the right size. Okay, here we go. All right, Texas state questions. We'll only be doing about 5 questions because there are less questions for Texas. For Texas state questions, there's only, I think, 40 questions. In national, there are 85. And that is for the state of Texas. All right, number 31. Again, this is brokerage. What did I say? Brokerage standards of operation. So a licensee shows a property to an interested buyer, which the buyer likes very much. During the second showing, the buyer reveals that the house was previously occupied by a person who died of AIDS. The buyer blames the agent for not disclosing that fact and threatens to file a complaint with TREC. Who is TREC? Texas Real Estate Commission. Which of the following is true? A, the broker has failed to deal honestly and competently with the buyer prospect. Or B, the broker has violated a duty of disclosure on nature death, which has occurred in a listed property. Or C, the broker has jeopardized the client's interest and could face disciplinary action. Or D, the licensee is not required to make any disclosures or inquiries regarding AIDS. What do you think it is? Must we disclose that a person died of AIDS? Type your answer in the chat, the question number and the letter answer, please. All right, let's see who's answering here. Nobody? Come on, there's several of you on here. Take a chance. The answer here is D. 1331 is D. A licensee is not required to make any disclosure or inquiries regarding AIDS. So if it was a murder, suicide, okay, those are disclosed and they would be in the news. We can refer the person to go to the Texas state website and look that up. But we're not required for natural death or AIDS to disclose that. Okay, you answered A or B. The broker has failed. No, broker hasn't violated. No, we are not required to disclose in the state of Texas. Thank you for taking an attempt. And this is how we learn. Okay, so we were doing, so let me go back and let you know the test that we were on. So that was standards of conducts and brokerage practices. Okay, and now we're going to chips. So real estate agency relationships with a buyer and a realtor, buyer and a broker, seller and a broker, seller and a realtor. Those are agency relationships, okay? Do we have a signed document? Do we not? A listing, a contract, a buyer's rep agreement. In order to learn these, you'll want to repeat the questions over and over until you ace them, until you get 100, not just ace them, okay? So please don't just do them once. I used to do these questions over and over when I was studying and taking the quizzes until I made 100. Because let me tell you, many times I didn't get a 70 the first time around. So why not do it again? We have the information there and we can do it over and over. Some companies will charge you for every time you take it, but if you have a prep book, you already paid for the prep book. Do it. You may have it online like I do here on Kindle. All right, number 1, agency and brokerage relationships, 14.1. Which of the following are acceptable sanctioned brokerage relationships in Texas? So what is sanctioned brokerage relationships? A, buyer agency and seller agency only, no sub-agency or dual agency. B, buyer, seller, and sub-agency. C, transaction brokerage only. D, buyer and seller agency, sub-agency, and intermediary representation. Type your answer in the chat. Question number and the letter answer. So we're all on the same page. Hi, Nini. It is not A. I'm sorry, but take another chance. We do have buyer and seller agency. However, one of them, actually, two of them are incorrect on A. So take another attempt. All right, the answer is D. You are right because Texas don't have dual agency. That's correct. Texas does not have dual agency. We do have sub-agency. However, we don't really practice sub-agency. Our brokerage require us to have a buyer's representation agreement. And now that's going to become real critical because there are lawsuits against a National Association of Realtors from sellers complaining, why do they have to pay the commission for the seller and the buyer? So buyers may have to start paying the buyer commission, whatever's negotiated between the buyer agent and the buyer, okay? So then for more reason, we probably would not do any more sub-agency, right? Because sub-agency means that we are not representing the buyer. We are sub-agent to the seller, okay? So when we don't represent the buyer by not having a buyer representation agreement, we're actually representing the seller as a substitute agent. The main agent is the listing agent. The agent that's not representing the buyer, because the buyer doesn't want to sign a buyer representation agreement and be protected, okay, and get their best interest from the realtor, then that realtor is a sub-agent. So the answer is we are buyer and seller agency. We can do sub-agency, meaning we don't represent the buyer, and intermediary, meaning that the brokerage has a realtor that represents each of the parties. One realtor represents the seller and one realtor represents the buyer. The seller would be represented with a listing agreement and the buyer would be represented with a buyer agency agreement, right? Buyer tenancy. In Texas, we do have tenancy agreements because we do help with rentals, leases. You get me? You get that, Nini? So you're correct. We do not have dual agency. However, we do have sub agency. And as I mentioned, that may change in a few months or next year, where the buyer 3%, 4%, 2%, whatever is negotiated between them and the realtor. If those complaints made by sellers as to why do they have to pay 6%, 3% to cover the listing, 3% to cover the buyer. Okay. Even though the money price, okay, is enough to cover that, or there's room to negotiate lower. Now the buyer is going to be will have to be educated by us if that law goes through, because there is like a class action lawsuit. Okay, good, Nanny. I'm glad you get that. So go back and review those questions or this video. All right, number 2. Okay. Which of the following best defines an agent per Texas statute 1101.557? Don't ask me what that statute is. Okay. We can always Google it. A broker who represents a party in a real estate transaction or who lists real estate under an exclusive agreement. Okay. What is an exclusive agreement? What is represents? Real estate transaction. A broker who holds a real estate license. C, a broker who sells and leases real estate. D, a person who exclusively represents buyers and sellers and an intermediary representation. Okay, so it says, what best defines an agent in Texas statute? So remember, what is an agent versus a broker, intermediary, realtor? Okay, there's differences. So what best defines an agent, a realtor, per Texas statute 1101.557? Type your answer in the chat. Okay, it is not D, Nini. Nini or Nene. So the answer here is A broker who represents a party in a real estate transaction or who lists real estate under an exclusive agency. Okay, so exclusive agreement. Okay, remember there's an exclusive right to sell, and that is considered an exclusive agreement. Okay, so there's different types of agreements. So a broker who represents a party in a real estate transaction or who lists real estate under an exclusive agreement. So so a broker who represents a party in a real estate transaction, it could be residential, commercial, industrial, agriculture, okay, land. And so they list real estate for sale under an exclusive agreement for a party is that party's agent. So the statute states, note that brokers can sell and lease real estate. So in the state of Texas, we can sell and lease. So everything belongs to the broker, right? So as an agent, we're under a broker. And then also a licensee can conduct real estate services without entering into an exclusive agreement. Okay, so there's different ways. So it says a broker who represents a party in a real estate transaction or who lists real estate under an exclusive agreement. It could be a buyer's representation agreement or an exclusive agency agreement, meaning they are listing the property for that owner. However, there is a exclusive right to sell, which means that whether the broker or the seller procures the buyer, the broker gets commission. In an exclusive agreement, an exclusive to list agreement, if the seller ends up selling the property, the broker does not receive a commission, okay, while the property is listed. So of course, the best one we want to have an exclusive right to sell. There are also, gosh, I forget the other listing, which is legal. However, we don't do it because it could cause a net listing, meaning that the seller says, hey, you can list it for 500,000. All I want is 400. So if that realtor decides to list it for 550,000 and it's never going to sell because they're trying to make more commission, right, by selling it higher, the seller's only going to want 500 commission. So it can cause a realtor to go a little choosing to take care of themselves and not their client. And our duty is to our client, right? Our fiduciary duty is to protect and negotiate and look out for the best interest of our client. Get them the highest and best price in a listing, or get them the lowest and best price as a buyer. So that would be a net listing. It's legal in Texas. However, we don't typically practice it. Okay, so you said the person. What did you mean by the person? So which of the following best defines an agent per Texas statute? So it's a broker who represents a party in a real estate transaction, because in Texas, our broker owns all the listings and represents the parties. We, the agent, as the associate for the broker, deal directly with that client, but the clients belong to the broker, even though they're literally our buyers or our sellers. But since we hang our license with a broker, we have to abide by the broker's policies and regulations and follow state law. So we have to follow their rules, and all commission goes to the broker, and it's under the broker's name, which must be disclosed. So everything belongs to the broker, and they receive the commission, then we get our percentage. Once we cap, it still goes to the brokerage, and we'll get 100% commission, and we pay some type of a transaction fee that protects us also for error and omission. So question 14.2, I said is A, it's not D. When I read it, a person got me confused. A person got me confused. Oh, on D, a person who exclusively represents buyers and sellers is in an intermediary transaction. It doesn't have to be intermediary transaction, right? Because intermediary is when a broker represents both sides, because they have an agent representing the buyer and an agent representing the seller through the broker, right? They're assisting the buyer and they're assisting the seller under the broker umbrella. So they become the intermediary, they being the broker. Okay. All right, good. I got you. I couldn't remember where I saw person. So whenever they refer to agent or realtor, remember that transactions belong to the broker. We get paid through our brokerage unless we are a broker on our own. Okay, then we receive the money through our own brokerage, through our name. Even if we're a broker and we hang our license with a brokerage, we get paid through that brokerage. Okay. All monies flow through the brokerage then to us being the realtor agent, or even an associate broker, or we could have a title as broker. Like if you want to be a property manager, you're going to get your broker license. All right, number 3. Okay, so there's a point to get a broker license. Most of the time, we don't need a broker license. Some people think, oh man, if I become a broker, that'll be awesome, right? Well, many brokers are broke. That's what we say. They're brokers and they're broke. And for many, it is true. Others are very successful. There's a lot of responsibility for making extra money from their realtors. There's lots and lots of responsibility. All right, number 3. A broker is an agency relationship. A broker in an agency relationship must comply with which of the following agency-related regulations? A, the broker must present all full price offers to the seller. B, the broker must disclose receipt of all offers. C, the broker must negotiate a seller's listing price. Or D, the broker must refrain from interfering in negotiation with represented principals for 90 days following the expiration of the listing. So a broker in an agency, what is an agency relationship? When do we have an agency relationship? Must comply with one of the following agency-related regulations. So is it A, B, or C? The broker must present all full price offers to the seller. B, the broker must disclose receipt of all offers. C, the broker must negotiate a seller's listing price. Or D, the broker must refrain from interfering in negotiations with represented principals for 90 days following the what date? Expiration of the listing. Sometimes I say, when you see the word must, it might be the wrong answer or it could be the right answer. In this case, all answers have the word must. So that's not a keyword that's going to help you. You've got to think about it. When do we have an agency relationship? Remember, there's a start date and an expiration date. Type your answer in the chat. Question number and the letter answer. Come on. Take a chance. Type your answer now. Going once. Going twice. Gone. The answer is B. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. B. I typed it in there. The broker must disclose receipt of all offers. That is a must. I mean, yes, we're going to present full price offers, but not just full price offers. We're going to present all offers as they come in. So the answer is B. Now, D says the broker must refrain from interfering in negotiations when represented principals for 90 days following the expiration date. Once the expiration of a listing happens, there is no agency relationship. Therefore, they must refrain from it. Okay? But it says following the expiration date. Now, as soon as the property is sold or it expires, there's no more agency relationship. There's no more negotiation. There is no more dealing. The only thing we must keep in mind is confidentiality, just like with attorneys, accountants, doctors. We keep confidentiality. The rest is no longer an agency relationship? So the answer is B. We must present all offers. All right, so that's D is incorrect because it says 90 days following the expiration date. So there's a protection period of 90 days after the expiration date. That is in case during the showing, a buyer that was shown during the listing period decides to purchase the property after it expires, goes directly to the seller. We are still due. The seller is still liable for that commission because that buyer previewed the property during the listing period. So we have to provide the seller a list of those buyers that were shown the property either by the listing realtor or by a buyer's agent up to 90 days after. So shortly after the listing period expires, then we present all the buyers that were shown the property. If one of those buyers buys, that seller is liable for that commission for both buyer agent and listing agent. All right, number 14. I'm sorry, number 4. Jeez. Come on, number 4. There we go. Okay, no questions? All right, number 4. 2 home buyer prospects walk into an open house and start talking to the seller's agent hosting the occasion. Okay, 2 home buyer prospects. What are they? Prospects. Walk into an open house, start talking to the selling agent who's hosting the occasion. They inform the agent that they need help looking for properties in and around the neighborhood. In and around the neighborhood. What is the host's responsibility in this scenario with regards to representation? A, the host must give the buyers the seller's property condition brochure. B, the host does not have to disclose anything since there's no talk regarding pricing. C, the host must tell the buyers that she represents the seller of the open house property. Or D, the host must complete the dual agency disclosure. So what do you think that buyer's agent, that is a seller's agent that is hosting the open house? So these are prospects, they're not represented. And the seller's agent is hosting the property, right? So they represent the seller. The buyer comes in and says, we need help looking for properties in and around the neighborhood. They don't specify what properties, they just said in and around the neighborhood. So what is that seller's agent who's hosting the open house responsibility in this situation regarding representation? Because who do they represent? Type the answer in the chatty chat. Question number and letter answer. And while you do that, I'll take a sip. Because my throat gets dry. Did you know that when you talk a lot and you breathe through your mouth, your throat and your mouth dries up? So they recommend speakers that educate on presentation, breathe through your nose. So that 14.3, that's not the answer there. Okay. All right. So, okay. So Annie, is your answer D for number 4 or is it for number 3? Remember to type the question number. The answer is actually C. The host must tell the buyers that he or she represents the seller of the open house property. Okay, so that seller agent is there hosting an open house and they actually represent the seller. In other instances, it could be a buyer agent, it could be another agent that does not represent the seller. However, if this buyer were to be interested in this home, even though they are a prospect, that listing agency agent must disclose immediately, I happen to represent the seller, so I can give you information that is public on this property. However, I cannot disclose or negotiate, what kind of price you could offer. I can show you any other properties in the neighborhood and represent you. However, I would not be able to represent you with this particular property. Okay, why? Because that agent represents the seller of the home that they are doing an open house on. And so that is something we must disclose. And you can see that 3 of the answers have must in them, and 1 of them does not. So they're trying to trick you. Oh, the one that doesn't have a must be the correct answer, right? No, not in this case. Sometimes yes, but in this case, no. Now, in some cases, if all of the answers do not have the word must, the one that has must may be the correct one. Be careful about those, okay? Those are ways that the test makers can trick you to see if you're just paying attention to certain little keywords, because there are individuals that are excellent test takers, that they look for words like must, always, never, none, okay, in order to say, okay, that'll be the right answer or that'll be the wrong answer. Some people are really good at taking tests. I was not one of those. As I have done this tutoring, I have learned better. However, do I still get nervous for multiple choice tests? Yes, I always have. And however, what do? We prepare for the exams by studying the material, studying the vocabulary, because that is what we're learning. It's a new language, and lots of questions and answers. Okay. All right. So that's the end of the Texas state questions. Any questions for that? Like, for those of you that are taking a Texas state, you're going to have the Texas, the national portion of the exam and the Texas state. Normally you will get the national first and then the Texas. Once you finish one of the exams, you can't go back to the other. You're done. If you do all 85 questions of the national and you click in, done, that's it. You can't go back. Then you start the Texas state exam. Once you're done with the Texas state exam, you're done. Now, during the test, you can mark and flag questions that you're not you're not sure of. Click them for review. A future question might help you answer that one. You can come back and then answer that. Should you have time, go back and review all the questions again. However, don't start changing answers. Okay, go with your first gut feeling. Some people say, oh man, what is gut feeling? That's intuition. Like animals have instincts, we also have them. We just sometimes we don't practice it or we don't train our instincts. So gut feelings, I do believe in that. Our guts can tell us something. We're scared, right? We feel something. We're nervous. We're going to get sick, right? We feel it. And the other is we're second guessing ourselves. We're doubting ourselves. That's when we start to change answers. Okay, any questions? So if this is your first time to my channel, remember to tap that subscribe button. Okay, YouTube Agent Prep. Click the like button if you found this video useful and you would like to see more of this information. If you want to see particular topic or other questions or vocabulary, write a comment in the comments below and ask any questions below. I will answer them. If you don't get an immediate answer, I will get to them. You can type the question again. And remember to click that little bell so that you are the first to get notified anytime I upload a new video or I go live. I am uploading videos now to help you get your business going, how to go about working, how to get listings, how I got started with my business and got a whole bunch of listings, what real estate is really like, okay, what to expect and what not to make. Don't make real estate a big, glorious, fun, absolute, awesome job. 87% of beginners drop out of the business, realize this is not for me. It happens to us when we're going to college and we change degrees, right? We change majors, we change minors, or we drop out and we come back later. We're not ready for it. Well, in real estate, the statistics are about 87% of beginning realtors drop out of the business because they don't have the funding, the finances, too many things get in the way, or it's not what they expected. So research it, review it, talk to other realtors, find out what it's really like. It's a lot of hard work. It's your business. It's where your money's going to come from, and you've got to work it every day if you really have to make it. There are some realtors that will make over 100,000 the first year. There's some that might make 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. There's some that may not make any. Okay. And it all of a sudden may click and they'll do it on their second year. Just realize that you're going to be paying monthly dues to the MLS, multiple listing service, where we list properties and we search for homes, and to the real estate company, and to the yearly dues to the National Association of Realtors, the State Association of Realtors, and to your local MLS board for marketing, your social media, okay, your fuel, car repairs. There's a lot of expense involved, okay? Once you get your license, okay, you pass your exams, interview lots of real estate companies, okay? And, ask them questions, talk to them, talk to other realtors that you might know. Don't talk to individuals that are not realtors. They say, oh man, you don't know what you're getting into. No, talk to somebody that has experience, that knows what it's like, or maybe retired from it. Go to open houses, talk to those realtors, ask them questions. Educate yourself, be resourceful, take action. Don't expect others to tell you what it's like just for them. Get experience of what they are experiencing, what it's been for them. It's different for everyone. What I will tell you is that it is your business. It does take a lot of work, and you've got to find your own leads. If somebody tells you they're going to give you leads, more than likely you're going to get bottom of the totem pole types of leads. They're going to provide their good leads to realtors that know how to close deals, okay? Not to beginners. You may get lucky every now and then, but that's not the norm. So make sure you've got some money in the bank, or you've got family support, and that your family is aware of what you're doing. Set a schedule to study every day. Put it on your calendar, on a manual calendar on your wall, on a calendar on your phone. Be consistent with that schedule and study vocabulary and lots of questions. Review different YouTube channels that work for you. If you're an audio person, listen to a lot of questions and vocabulary. If you're visual, watch a lot of video, read the books. So it depends. Some people love to learn from books. Others have to watch. Others have to, learn as they do it. They're hands-on. And others love to learn audio. Many different ways of learning. Find out which one best fits for you. And as always, I wish you the best. My prayer is that all of you pass your exam, and that this is something that you really want to do, that you research it and evaluate it. Don't waste your time and your money. Many of us have gone to college and dropped off and then gone back. I'm one of those. Okay. However, we also change our mind and change avenues, change directions, okay, change roads, and that's okay. Don't be hard on yourself. Don't punish yourself. We have the right to change our mind. Yet, very important, have a positive mindset. Get your mindset right so that you can be able to study and focus. Study in short sessions, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, take a break session. And, and affirm, I, I passed, I passed, I passed. Ask, believe, and receive. Love y'all. This is Wild Lily Handy here to help you or Texas. Until next time, catch. Okay, well, I'm trying to end this, and it's not ending. There's probably something going on with the